Oh my. Oh my.
You are now tuned in to the Revolution Radio Show. Yo, what it is and what it do, you're officially tuned in to the Revolution Radio Show on 102.3 FM, KCAA in the Inland Empire, worldwide on the Internet Network and the iHeartRadio app. It is Saturday, August the 7th. This is actually, y'all, our second Saturday. We went from weekdays to Saturday, hitting you on the weekend with all the revolution and everything else. You know, I'm your man's J Love, aka Uncle Jiggy. I'm always joined by the statesman himself, Mr. Farron. How you doing, sir?
I'm good today. How's everybody?
I'm feeling good, man. It's
good. Doing good.
And that lovely voice, if you're on the radio or if you're checking us out on some of the other streaming services, that is intern Lillian.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? It's a wonderful day, and make sure to put some sunscreen on.
Yes, absolutely, because that heat is no
I gotta do
joke.
My tan lines.
You know,
yeah.
I have to say this because we got a couple of things we're going to talk about today, but I had to say shout out to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, shout out to the LA Lakers for being the team that is going to defy all the odds. I'm sick of people picking on older folks. You know what I'm saying? All you young cats is over there talking about they old. First of all, I'm older. I'm not old, okay? I'm not old, so LeBron is not old, okay? And Melo is not. See, here's the difference, okay? Can I just say this, okay?
Please say what you have to say. Please.
Everyone right now, Lillian, if you don't know, they talking about saying that the Lakers are the oldest team in the league, right? Because they have 8 players that are 30 plus.
Okay, 36. They can still run down the court, then they're fine.
But listen,
Lillian,
these
stop.
8 of the baddest dudes that ever did it. And look, if you ain't never been to the park, I'm gonna school you real quick, right? Sometimes when you go to the park and you watch these pickup games, the young dudes want to be running like shoop, 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 shoop. They want to be running back and forth. But who you got to watch out for is that old dude who slow the game down and play that and then back you up with an elbow and put that old man game on you. You know what I'm saying? And got the wrap on his knees. That's the dude that's deadly because when he shoot, it's gonna every time. You know what I'm saying? He might not be able to do this with you no more, but that he gonna wear you down with that body and with his knowledge. He gonna do the quick little pass like dump bow right there with it. And Lillian's looking at me like, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, they still, even with their age, like they still have the passion and they still have the drive and they're still willing to go all in for it. So it's like, why replace them for, someone with less experience, at least as of right now, while they can still be able to play and be good at their game. It's like you don't see them taking out actors who are older. It's like they still are in the game. They're still doing crazy things.
Stop the old isms. Is that a word? Old isms? Old racisms? The oldest? The whatever. Because here's the thing. Now I could see maybe 10, 20 years ago, right? But athletes now, people in general, eat better, right? They Charles Barkley would eat 2 cheeseburgers before a game. You know what I'm saying? It was a different time and era. But nowadays, these dudes, most of them are if they're not vegan, they're pescatarian. They have LeBron spends over $1 million a year on his body alone. It's 36 is different today than it was 10, 20 years ago, right? It's not the same 36. And so you have someone like Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double. I think it was 4 years in a row. Who does that? You know what I'm saying? Melo coming off the bench. Melo coming off the bench is going to be deadly. You know what I mean? Dwight Howard, he going to bang up some bodies up in there. Dwight Howard is in better shape today than he was 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you always have LeBron James. LeBron James is still the greatest player on the planet Earth, okay? You have Anthony Davis. You know what I'm saying? Like even Trevor Ariza's deadly because you get him on the outside and swoop, them 3-pointers. You know what I'm saying? So look, here's the problem that the Lakers had. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna shut up. This year, outside of injuries, but everybody was injured. The whole league was injured. So to say because they're old, that don't mean nothing. Because young dudes, Trae Young got injured, and he was only like I think 24. Trae Young, he's early 20s,
wow.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's my point. The Lakers, what they didn't have a third person that they could rely on night in and night out to put up points. We knew LeBron was going to do what LeBron was going to do. We knew Anthony Davis was going to do what Anthony Davis was going to do. But there wasn't that consistent, like there would be people who would random, like KCP would put up like one night and then you wouldn't hear from him for like 7 nights. You know what I'm saying? And then Kuzma will ball out, and then you'd be like, "What happened?" I used to call him Billy's daddy because you know his bald head. He looked like a dude like, "Yo, Billy's daddy can play ball," right? But anyways, but there wasn't that guy who was like, we knew that dude's gonna put up points. Now you got at least 5 or 6 other dudes who can like legit ball out night in and night, and they're seasoned. They're veterans. They're seasoned. You know what I'm saying? Once these guys get their, you know, their little chemistry together, this is the team to reckon with because there ain't no other team in the West that you can say definitively is better than this team. We already know that on the East, they talking about Brooklyn still. They still talking about what's the Giannis and you know what I'm saying? But like, let's be real, man. It's a LeBron James team. We're gonna get the ring. Shout out to the Lakers. I should have put my Laker hat on. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Lakers for doing this thing. But that being said, Miss Lillian, let's get into what we really gonna talk about this weekend. Because
you're just gonna bypass me.
Oh
huh?
yeah,
you don't want me to say nothing about your old.
You already know Jane's gonna be a diehard Lakers fan.
He gonna give you the bounce pass, Lillian. I don't get no 20-second timeout. No
well,
nothing.
Would you like to say something?
I got a 20-second timeout, man. First of all, why y'all always trying to go put the old school team together? Do you remember what happened in 2004?
We're not talking about 2004.
Do you remember what happened?
It's 2021.
Do you remember what happened?
I don't know what you're talking about. This is 2021.
Yeah.
It's 2021.
Well, I don't because I was only 3, but enlighten me.
So, Lily, in 2004, the Los Angeles Lakers did their best to try to put together a team to beat my Detroit Pistons. They went and grabbed an old school character who delivers mail.
Look, man.
Called the mailman.
Yes, but you talking about
one guy. Hold on. They got this one guy who they called the glove because he had some defense. It didn't work. It didn't work.
Because these were dudes who ate cheeseburgers and drank beer before a game. It was a different era. You know what I'm saying?
Trial and error, you know.
There was
the only thing I'm going to give you is that I like Carmelo Anthony, so it's going to be very interesting to see how he plays. So I'm not a Laker fan, but I will be watching because I like Carmelo. So they chemistry, it might take them 2 years. They'll be 45, 50 years old by the time they
what are you talking about?
By the time they put together some chemistry.
These dudes are friends. LeBron and Carmelo hang out on the banana boat. They part of the banana boat squad.
They all want the ball.
No, man, look, just Lillian, what are we talking about today?
So there is a pivotal discovery on the COVID-19 breakthrough because scientists have found out that the new Delta COVID-19 variant has produced similar amounts of virus in vaccinated and unvaccinated people if they get infected by this variant. And so this is the fundamental key of why they're pushing so much for people to wear their mask, because even if you're vaccinated, you're still going to get sick and have the same amount of infection as unvaccinated people. But in the end, it will help you to heal. But
here's what I'm hearing you saying. The Delta variant, you can still catch COVID, right? If you're vaccinated, which I actually happen to personally know someone who just caught the Delta variant and is fully
Oh,
vaccinated.
wow.
The difference is, even though she got sick, she's not as sick, number one, as she would have been without the vaccination. But in addition to that, what they're saying is, even if you're vaccinated, this is why we're bringing back the mask mandates, because nothing is 100%, right? It's like the notion that, I'm not even gonna go there because everybody already thinks I'm crazy and whatever. But the point is this.
Give us the notion.
Well, it's like the notion people think that safe sex is like really 100% safe. Like they be thinking, you know, and it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You feel me? And so for people to think like, one, I'm not vaccinated, I don't care, I'm just gonna go to Lollapalooza and wild out, or go to Dodger Stadium with 60,000 people. So you already looking for herpes, right? So that's number one. But number two, like, even if you are vaccinated, right, you still need to mask up when you're in public, especially in indoor settings, right? So for example, I went to church this weekend, right? Or last weekend, I should say, and I will do the same thing this weekend. And everybody was looking at me crazy because I'm sitting in church with a mask on. I'm like, there's a whole, I don't know what y'all do Monday through Saturday. I don't know where y'all been, who y'all talk to. I don't know who's all.
True, yeah.
I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I see, hey, God bless you. Amen. I could bless you from over there. Stay, you know what I mean? Because I just look, and I'll say this again, because I really wanted to talk about this because of this. I understand that we have differences in opinions with regards to the vaccine and with regards to wearing masks. But, you know, there's an old saying, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie, right? And the numbers of cases that we're seeing now of not just infections, but people really, really getting sick, and the death rate is starting to go up again. If it is not real, if it is not COVID, if it's some other thing, can someone please explain to me what it is? In the meantime, we can't deny the hospitalizations, right? Or am I foolish in thinking this?
No, you know, my buddy, I was talking to my buddy Terry, who's a retired cop, and one of his friends. Long story short, he had a conversation with her about getting the vaccine, and she was like, no, I'm not going to take that. And I'm not taking that virus. I'm not taking that vaccine. So she traveled to Florida, her and her family, to visit a loved one who passed away, their service. Came back home, her and her husband caught COVID, and she passed away. She had asthma, so her lungs were already impacted.
Right.
And so that when she caught this new variant, her lungs were so bad that they put her in a coma and attempted to take her off the ventilators to see if she could breathe, and she could not breathe on her own. So her husband had to make that choice. They said that if she did live, that she would not, you know, be healthy.
And I remember, I remember seeing on the news of this couple. I was trying to look for the exact article, but there was this couple, one was vaccinated and one wasn't, and they both got COVID. And the wife who was vaccinated had COVID and had symptoms, but healed in 10 days and was perfectly fine. But the husband was in the hospital has been in the hospital for 22 days and counting, and has an oxygen mask and is struggling to hold on for his life. And she wanted to take it to the news and just spread awareness, saying, this is what happened for me and my husband. I was vaccinated and healed barely in 10 days, and he is struggling to save his life. And that's just the difference of whether you're vaccinated or not. And when you get COVID, it just shows an example of like how it could save your life.
Well, yeah, and I don't believe in scare tactics. Like, I hate scare tactics, right? I hate when people are like, well, you better do this or you going to hell, right? Like, I don't believe in scare tactics. But here's what it is that at the end of the day, no one knows, like not you, Lillian, not you, Farhan, not me. We don't know how our individual body is going to react, right? Because this is all going on inside of us. And, it's literally like playing Russian roulette, right? You're taking the gamble. Like some people, like I've known at least, and I'm being conservative, at least 50, 60 people who have contracted COVID, right? I know personally, matter of fact, another one who died this week. I've known 8 people who have died from COVID, right? And so none of it has made sense. Like there was like I know people who like nothing, like they barely got sniffly and right. And they're like,
I've known someone who's had no symptoms at all and they were completely fine. But then the other person in their family was, they were really sick. So it just depends on everybody's body. Like some people get no symptoms and they're completely fine, but that doesn't mean that they should still keep going outside because you're spreading it to other people who might be more at risk.
Well, the thing is, you don't know how your body is going to react. You don't. Like, you're not inside there. You know what I mean? Like, that's the crazy part is that people are willing.
Battling something too. If you're battling, your health is already impaired. Like,
because like I've known 40-year-olds, which is, I mean, that's young. 40 is young. You know what I mean? I know 40 who have died. You know what I mean? And what's crazy is that now with this new variant, it's affecting children more, right? And especially now as kids are starting to go back to school. And so, and this is what I was sharing with someone just the other day. I said, look, we have to put things in perspective, right? The last time we saw something like this, right? The pandemic of 1919, the Spanish flu, right? Before things got back to quote unquote normal, right? The cycle was 3 years, right? Now, I'm not saying that we're going to have to be in a 3-year, you know what I mean? But we have to put it in perspective. Like, it's not going to go away in 6 months, 8 months, a year. Like, this is a serious thing, right? And so even though that seems like, let's just say if it was 3 years, like, oh my God, it's 3 years. But let's be real, in the big scheme of life, 3 years is this if we do what we're supposed to do, right? And it's not about controlling people's lives. It's about, look, and this is the number that not freaked me out, but this is the number that I think people should realize, okay? The mortality rate, meaning the amount of people that are probably going to die from this, is 1%, right? So it's like, if you just say it like that, like 1%, I mean, that's 1% of people. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal, right? But let's put that in perspective.
Like 3 billion.
No, there's 7.6 billion people on the planet Earth. So if 1% of that, that's 76 million people. That's a different, like, okay, are we good with that? 76 million people is a lot of people. You feel me? Like, think of that number, 76 million people.
And then you got to add to that, because if the people that died, the people who are mourning that's connected to them, who knew them. So now you're talking about
hundreds of millions
of people impacted by this virus, because we don't, and this is what my issue is with our society today, is we're not present to the impact of ourselves to other people, and then other people to other people. Like your cousin's cousin, who, people who know you. Like, we don't understand that the decisions that we make impact a line of people that are connected to us. And to be responsible for that, if you just took a level of responsibility, you could help protect everybody around you. Like, if you took your responsibility and protected yourself and did what you needed to do for yourself, imagine the people that are around you, the immediate people around you, and then the people who know the people around you. And that's how deep this conversation goes. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, I just wish we could talk about this and not, like, you don't know how many posts I see on a daily basis saying that it's all a bunch of BS, it's all a conspiracy, like it's all like all of these things that, again, I'm with you if there's some actual evidence or some actual, you know what I mean, something tangible other than like something you saw on Facebook or Instagram, right? Like even people trying to discredit Dr. Fauci. Now, he might not be the greatest human being on the planet Earth. He may not, you know what I mean? But this dude has served 6 presidents, right? Like he is one of the foremost experts with regards to infectious diseases, right? And like, okay, whatever. Like, I think he knows more than the influencer on Instagram. Just saying, right? And I had someone tell me, well, no, they're getting to all the influencers to get the influencers to brainwash us. And I'm like, again, I look, you know how there's an old saying, right? It is funny. Like, how do you keep a secret between 2 people? You want to know the answer? Kill one of them. So my point is this grand conspiracy, like, you know how many people would have to be in on it? You're talking about the entire medical complex, every doctor, every nurse, every attending, every orderly. You're talking every pharmacist, every scientist around the world, because this is not a US thing, it's a global thing, right? We're just selfish in the US and narcissistic, right? All of those people would have to be in on it. Like that means that if you went to med school in the early 2000s, right? You went to med school with the notion, yo, in 2020, I'm going to be a part of, like, this is why I'm going to med school, right? So that in 2020, think about that. Like everyone who went to nursing school, on their first day of nursing school, they closed the doors and were like, listen, whoever's not down with this, we're going to kill you. Okay. You can't leave this room. Here's what's going to happen. By the time you guys graduate from nursing school, there's going to be a global pandemic, quote unquote, right? It's going to be, and you guys are going to be a part of it, but shh, you can't tell nobody. You can't tell your family. You can't tell nobody. It's all a hoax. It's not real. It's the Antichrist. You know what I mean? There's going to be robots inside the shot. You're like serious? Or am I the crazy one?
But again, people watch way too much TV, way too many movies, and we make stuff mean something all day long. So people already got proof from all the movies that they saw. And yeah, some of those movies, if you do watch them, are very close to what's going on today. However, you can't base it off of that either.
Yeah, and there's so much proof all around us, just like how Florida is now leading the nation in the number of COVID-19 adult and child hospital admissions.
Wait, you mean Florida, the state where the governor refuses to, where he said,
Florida,
where he said you cannot,
no mask required.
Yes,
First
no
ones.
mask. Matter of fact, if you put masks on a school, I'm gonna cut your funding. That Florida. The Florida that never shut down.
And now children are paying for it, and it's so sad because schools are in person, and with no mask being required, a lot of children are being affected by this new Delta variant.
Are we at even a tier color yet, or are we not even doing the colors?
No, listen.
Exactly.
If we were in the tiers, we would be at the most severe tier possible, right? And part of the reason why I want to bring this up is because some of the things that are going on are fueling the conspiracy theories. So I don't know if you guys saw this or read this, but in New York, there's a new mandate in New York where it's not just masks, but you have to have proof of vaccination before you enter like indoor spaces. So like concerts, restaurants, whatever, like
they keep that card like your ID.
Yeah. So the conspiracy theorists, think about this though, because I'm like, when I heard this, I was like, oh my God, this is about
it's gonna start up.
This is about to get crazy because they're going, see, it's the Nazi state. They're gonna control. You gotta walk around and show your vaccination card. But like, here's the thing. So I spoke with my wife, right? Because she works in HR at her job, right? And this is what she explained to me. She said, look, for so many businesses, the hit that they took last year, they can't afford to take that same hit again, right? Because let's say we all work together. Let's say there's 10 employees, right? But only one employee comes down with COVID. Well, basically what you have to do is you now have to shut everything down. You have to send everybody home for that one person, right? For that one person that got COVID, you got to do a 2-week mandatory what is it called? The
Quarantine.
Quarantine. There you go. So look at what that does for one business, right? So that's why businesses are starting to say, like, no, we need you to either get vaccinated or test on a weekly basis. I tell people this all the time. Stop being an entitled American. You don't have to have that job that you have. It is a privilege to have that job, but it's not a right to have that specific job. And let's be real. If you have a good job, right? Let's say you have a good job, good benefits, the whole nine. Even if you don't want to get vaccinated, is it too much to ask to get a swab once a week? Or your job ain't that great?
And it's not just the jobs, it's also the universities as well. Because I know, at least for the University of California, Irvine, UCI, my school, shout out. They are not fully requiring, but they are pushing for people to be vaccinated if you want to come on campus again and take in-person classes. Or, like you said, they offer the once a week COVID tests. And a lot of people are still like fighting against it because unless you have a negative test, they will not let you like in the buildings as well.
Because it's a business.
Yeah. And it's like all the UCs are doing this, and other private universities are also, but some private universities are not because they're not government funded. So
they need that
do
money.
Whatever they want.
But here's the thing. It's a business. Like if it ain't got nothing to do with your belief or whatever. Like, listen, if you affect the business, the bottom line, then I have to then make adjustments so that my business don't go under, that affects more than just you and your little personal selfishness that doesn't believe whatever you believe. Because obviously, again, something is happening, even if it's not COVID. Maybe it's Movid, you know what I mean? Or COVID. I don't know. It's something else. Whatever it is, something is going on, right?
Americans are entitled. They have a mindset of entitlement, man. It's like, you can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me. I can do what I want. I could go wherever I want.
A global level, there are poor countries who are like asking and pleading for a vaccination because it is just affecting them so badly, and it is offered here in the United States for free. And it's like Germany also just donated 30 million vaccinations for these poorer countries, but correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't heard anything about the US donating anything.
No, we're not donating nothing because the ones we got, the people we got don't want to take them. We trying to get these people to take them, you know,
and they're for free. Like,
and here's the conspiracy theorists. When would they give you any kind of medicine for free? That don't sound fishy. Think about it. You don't get Tylenol for free. They're gonna give you.
I heard that one.
You know,
I heard that one where people were saying that, where they're like, well, why? If they want us to be so healthy, then how come this medicine isn't free and this medicine is free and this health and like all these people with cancer, like why do they have to pay for this? But just to protect us from COVID, like you want to be free now? And I'm just like, it's just so, it's kind of frustrating because
why don't they tell people to just eat better and boost their immune system? Because people are lazy and people are not going to eat better. That's why we have the fattest country on the planet Earth. Let's be honest. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's not technically free at all either, because there's always someone on the other end paying for it.
Yeah.
Especially for these vaccinations and all these testings and all that.
It
may seem free to you. But
we are the United States, right? We are the United States, right?
All I know is this, before we get into our next topic, is look, regardless of what side of the argument you fit on, okay? If you don't want to get vaccinated, fine. Then just go get tested every week. That's like, it's not the biggest inconvenience in the world. Like, people act like it takes what, 30 seconds to do the test, right?
But if you don't want, again, look at the consequences. If you don't,
they don't believe in the consequences though.
But you have to look at the consequences if you get vaccinated or you don't. And then if you're good with the consequences, just make sure that you realize that if you catch that and you don't know and you pass that to your mom or your cousin or your own child, are you good with that person dying? You good with that consequences? Because that's the ultimate consequence. So if you're really good with that consequence of having people around you die because you want to fight the power,
you want to go to that rave.
Right. So, you know,
with
no
mask.
I saw some footages of a rave. I was like,
so if y'all good with that, if y'all good with that, that's why I'm quarantining myself, because I don't trust people who don't look at the consequences. Like, you've got
it's like, don't only think about yourself, think about the people around you, and especially if they have medical and health issues. Like, is it really worth it to see them die because of your actions? It's gonna be very guilty in your heart.
But again, these people are not, they're gonna be like, it wasn't COVID, it was something else. Okay, fine. It was something. What is the something else? That's what the question, that's the question that no one will answer for me. Yeah. Like, are they secretly in the hospital, like the doctors are assassinating people? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, it's just the flu. It's just the flu. That's what a lot of people are saying. They're like, it's just the flu. We've already done this. It's
right. So why are people dying though? Like, are the doctors going in there snuffing them with pillows and putting pillows over their face?
I mean, there's people begging to the nurses saying, give me the vaccination, but it's already too late because they've already been too far in the sickness.
And not to compare the flu, but people die from taking the flu shots every year. Mm-hmm. And that is a end result for some folks.
Right.
So why are we scared again of these vaccinations?
Look, man,
they already
if you live in this country, if you grew up in this country, you're vaccinated. It's a reason why polio doesn't exist, why smallpox, why the mumps.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people are also arguing too, saying we have already been through this many times. We have our vaccinations. Like, why is it an issue that this one has just joined it in the list of required vaccinations if it's going to protect us in the long run?
So as we move to our next topic, if you haven't figured it out, we're anti-vaxxers.
I'm just
why
saying,
are you spreading why are you saying that? You're gonna give us away.
you just gotta, I don't know, man. I mean, I do know, but just pray and figure out what your best choice is, man. Just be good with your consequence. That's all.
Okay, so Lillian, what? Please, because this one right here, the next one frustrates me too. But go ahead and what are we talking about?
Our next topic is going to be about DaBaby, the rapper, and all of his drama, just by having a quick rant that we had talked about on our show, at least a couple shows ago. And the first one that I want to talk about is how he apologized for the third time for this homophobic rant, and that led him into being 86th from various music festivals, and his hit song with Dua Lipa being dropped from his playlist. So his life is being extremely affected by this because he decided to say some ugly words to a great community of people.
So, do you want to say something first, Ron, or you want me to go on my rant before?
No, go on your rant, man, because I read all the stuff that people said so far, even the celebrities, and I'm like, wow, this.
So,
because it's surrounded by the LGBTQ community too.
Yes. So
cancel culture is very high right now.
Well, let me say this again before I say what I'm about to say. I'm not worried because if my dysfunctional childhood, if gangbanging, and if a heart attack couldn't cancel me, neither can y'all. Okay. So the only one that can cancel me is God. Understand? So here's how this works. let me say this. Like, I understand that the comments that the baby made were hurtful to, and even to be honest with you, based on the comments that I heard, they were ignorant. I don't see how they could be super offended and get like make it this big a deal based on what I heard. Unless this is, and I'm going to say what I heard. Okay, I can't fully say it because explicitives or whatever, right? But basically, he made some comments, a rant about guys going into the parking lot and giving one another fellatio, right? I'm using the technical terms, okay? Now, if you are a person who enjoys doing that, why would you be offended? Like, yeah, and that's like telling me, like, you like to go and eat pizza. Yeah, I do. And what's the big deal? You know what I mean? The fat dude is still, even though I've lost 50 pounds, by the way, 52 actually as of today. The fat guy still lives inside of me. So yes, you know what I'm saying? But, and maybe he said some other things that I'm not aware of because I don't really listen to the baby. So, but here's my point is that the initial boycott of him and cancelization started with the Lollapalooza festival, right? And it started, and their reasoning was in their statement, they said because they are supporting humanity and it's an issue of humanity, right? And that he degraded a community, specifically the LGBTQIE, FG plus whatever. And I'm not being disrespectful. I just know it's a lot of letters. I always get confused. Okay. But here's the thing. If it is about humanity, here is my question. Okay. If it truly is about humanity, what you're saying, LGBTQ community, is that it is okay that him and several other rappers use the N-word, that they degrade Black women, that they push drug culture onto the Black community, they push violent and gang culture onto like, that's okay. That's okay to you. You know what I mean? That community doesn't matter. That part of humanity is not important. But for him to go on an ignorant rant and say something that can be construed as being homophobic, now that right there, ooh, that was the line we pushed. But hey, say the N-word all day. Don't worry. Say that, we don't care. Push drug culture onto Black kids and push violent culture onto Black kids. We don't care because that's not humanity. But the LGBTQ agenda, now that's humanity. That's the part that has me bothered because it infuriates me that most of these festivals have no problem having people on a predominantly white audience, by the way, having Black artists say N-word out loud. They got no problem with that. That has nothing to do with humanity to them. But him saying something that, yes, I will admit is ignorant. Okay. That part, that's too much. That now we're going to cancel him. And that's the issue that I have. You know what I mean? Because the one thing that I always say about the LGBTQ community is they want people to be tolerant of them. They want people to always, be sensitive to their agenda and be sensitive to their community. But they have become the very thing that they started to fight against, which was being bullied. They're bullies. They're bullies. Like, how can you not say that what they're doing is not wrong? It's wrong. They're literally shutting down. And again, I don't listen to DaBaby. I didn't before, and I never will. Okay. But this is how this man makes a living. This is how. Go ahead, Farhan.
So I'm reading his what he said, right? And
right.
The target was the HIV/AIDS community, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or people
having a stereotype.
Or people who live or have sexually transmitted diseases. That was the first target. Then he talked about ladies in their private area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, saying things about, so he was attacking women as well, which
so
stirred
he went
up
from
even more.
Yeah, and then the men. So he 3 areas that he targeted, right? And unfortunately, or fortunately, there are a lot of emotions attached to the HIV/AIDS community.
Mhm.
People have lost loved ones. People have died. It's not inherited per se, but people have died from these genes. And so for me, looking at what he said and the level of responsibility that he has to take, again, is that there are so many emotional traumas connected to those losses that people are hurt. People are
Mhm.
hurting. They probably haven't got any kind of mental health, condition. They haven't done any grievance classes or whatever that is for them, and they're upset. And
Yeah, and they're
there is
fired
a
up
level,
and
right? So there is
Right.
a level of responsibility that he has, again, that he has to have
Yeah.
for his
Absolutely.
ignorance. But then you go to the women, right? And so
Right.
now the women comment.
No, but here's the thing, though. This is my point: is that people are okay. Like, first of all, for the record, it's for those of you listening out there who are pissed at me right now. HIV doesn't just affect the gay community. Okay,
Exactly.
so let's be clear about that. So why are y'all the only ones pissed off? Number one. Number two, y'all had no problem with the stuff he says about women.
Yeah.
No one was like, "Oh, he's degrading women." Oh, he always degrades women.
Always.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But the second y'all felt a little bit that he dissed the LGBTQ plus community, oh, y'all want to go really? So this is what y'all are saying to me, that you are more important than everybody else. Your community is more important. You don't even want equal. You supposedly your stance was equality, but no, it's not equality. You
No.
want more. You want more. You want to be special. You want to be above everybody else, because we don't give a damn if he disrespects women. Who cares? They're women. You know what I'm saying? We don't give a damn if he pushes drug culture on black people, because they're black people. Who cares about black people? You know what I mean? Like, we don't care about none of this. But say anything about the LGBTQ, I'm sure I can feel the emails coming right now, and I can feel the inbox and the DM. I can feel it already. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm surprised my alerts ain't going off like crazy. But here's the truth. Go ahead, Lillian.
Well, I don't think it could be just that, like that the LGBT community wants to be more important than other communities. I think it's just they're just being loud and they're not standing for it anymore. So they don't want to let the baby get away with saying what he said. And I think it's just like a collective thing, them fighting for all the communities that he offended and trying to get him
They're not fighting for the
canceled.
black community, because they had no problem with him
Well, how
saying
do
the
you-
N-word. No,
how
because
do you
that's
know?
why.
You
Because
never
that's my
know.
point, is because so many other artists on all of these festivals that he got canceled from do the exact same music that he does. So they have no problem with
Yep.
his stance. They have no
Yep.
problem with the culture of disrespecting black people. There's no problem with that. The problem is only has to do with if the LGBTQ community feels that they've been disrespected. Do you understand how terrible that is? You know what I mean? Because look, here's the thing: LGBTQ plus community. Guess what? There's women in your circle. There's black people in your circle. You know what I mean? Apparently, according to all the letters, I think there's straight people in your thing too, right? Because the Q and the I,
The plus.
yeah, whatever. So there's straight people, you know what I mean? But y'all don't really care about none of that. You know what I mean? You just care that you got offended. And look, I don't believe that anybody should, like, no community should diss any other community, right? Like, I don't believe that anybody is better than anybody else, right? But at the end of the day, I'm fine. Like, I would have been okay if they would have said, we just, like you said, Lillian, we're going to be loud and we're not going to let you diss gay people. The problem for me was when the public stance that they took in writing was, we're doing this for humanity. And I call BS, because it's not about humanity, because y'all don't give a damn about black people. You know what I'm saying? You let all of these artists go up in there, and all of these corporations that let's be real, these festivals don't have a soul. They don't care about, it's about money. They don't want to lose sponsors. and they don't want to lose ticket sales. And right now they know you can piss anybody off except for the LGBTQ community. You could piss off Black people, you could piss off Latinos, you could even piss off Asians, right? But you better not piss off the LGBTQ community, because you're going to lose sponsors. You're going to lose ticket sales. Because you know what? You're right, Lillian. They are loud. They louder than everybody else. They letting you know, hey, we're here. We're queer. Get used to it. You know what I'm saying? And so, look, go ahead.
He started out saying, if you didn't show up today with, like, put your light, turn your cell phone light on. Like, he's bringing awareness to some stuff at the same time, but in a fashion of a, ignorant is not a curse word. Sometimes you call people ignorant and they ready to fight you, like you just called them the F word. But it's just you're uneducated, and the guy tried to do his best to bring awareness to some causes.
What he said? If you didn't show up here,
he just did it the wrong way.
Yeah, he just did. Yeah, he said if you didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, or any of them deadly sexual transmitted diseases that make you die in 3 weeks, put your cell phone lighter up.
Okay, that was a stupid statement. Should he be canceled for a stupid state? Like, let's be honest. Like, it was a stupid
He
statement.
say nothing about COVID and all his festivals that he's in.
But is it a bad statement? It's not the right. It's not appropriate for that environment.
But let's be real. Yes, I will say that. Look, if you look right now on this show, if you ain't got HIV, AIDS, or sexual transmitted,
don't get the show canceled now, please.
Raise your hand. Now I'm raising my hand. I ain't got no HIV, AIDS. You better raise your hand, Lily. Thank you.
I don't.
So why is that bad? Okay, but listen, I understand that what he said was completely ignorant. Like, it was stupid. Whatever. Yeah. But let's be real.
It's again with emotions, like you're affecting
that's what I'm
people's
saying.
Emotions, and then it's like calling people out, like, oh, they can't raise their hand because stay away from them.
Can I give you a similar conversation to that? So I'm an advocate for sickle cell trait. I've been at this for
raise your hand if you ain't got sickle cell.
No. Almost 11 years, right? And I'm gonna put this out there because just recently I joined this organization, and I have a campaign called Stop Sickle Sex, and they were like, oh, we need to talk to you about this because that we were taken back when we saw that. And so I'm like, all right, cool. It's a condom. It's a sickle cell with a condom on it, right? And it says stop sickle sex. Are you having sickle sex? So I'm like, okay, they must be offended by the condom. So I'm like, they're gonna ask me, like, what is that whole condom thing with the sickle cell? So when I got on this call, they're like, I explained everything, where it came from, why I use it, and so long story short, it wasn't even the sickle cell, it was the word prevention. And I'm like, okay, how does awareness, education, and prevention, like, how is that a bad thing? And so now with 2021, prevention makes it seem like, it's bad that people are born with sickle cell. It's a bad thing. It's wrong. And I'm like, so I'm listening, right? And I did my best to listen without judgment or defending myself. And what I heard was, I could see how a parent who had a child with sickle cell that didn't know that their partner had the trait as well, and had this baby born with the disease that there's no cure. I could see that maybe if I would have known, and I've had people tell me, if I would have known, maybe I wouldn't have had a child. Maybe I would have been informed and I would have made a different decision. So I could see the emotional connection to the resentment and regret of a parent who has a child now who maybe would have made a different decision. But to come at me with this whole, you can't use, we don't like the word prevention. Like, then what?
Look, this is the problem. Too many things is about feelings. It's about how you feel, and it doesn't have any real reflection in life. Because going back to the topic, because I want to stay on topic. Black people ain't felt good for over 400 years in this country, and don't nobody give a damn. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so y'all, everybody worrying about feelings, you gonna be okay. my feelings is hurt on a daily basis, but nobody cares. So I keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying?
We're in an emotional state right now, yo.
Yes.
Everything is emotional, my feelings, and you don't care, and you hurt me, and you hurt my
And
feelings.
depending on how I feel, I can feel different from moment to moment. So depending on them feelings, I could diss you and
Chemicals.
cancel your situation based on my feelings, because I feel like a puppy and you don't want to call me a puppy, but I feel like a puppy. But at 5 o'clock, I feel like a cat. So I want to be, but now you mad because you want to call me a puppy. And I'm like, nah, I'm a cat. So all these feelings, and I understand that the things that I say are a little bit raw, but it's because, look, we have to be honest about a situation and call it for what it is. Okay. The LGBTQ community, in my view, so I'm J Love does not, Veron and Lillian are not responsible for the views, nor is KCAA 1, 2.3. No one's responsible for the views of Mr. Love. In my view, the LGBTQ plus community have become bullies. They have become the very thing that they started out to fight against, right? They have a very, very big bully culture within the whole system of how they do things. And I'm calling it for what it is. You know what I mean? I ain't got no problem with y'all. Live your life. Do what it is you do. Like, it doesn't affect me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not going to be the whole, well, you know, I got a nephew. And you know what I mean? Like, I hate when people do that stuff. Like, hey, my nephew's black. Yay. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. I'm just saying, look, let's be honest. If you want equality, equality means you're not special. Okay. There's nothing special about you. Right. Like, so you're regular like everybody else. Okay. So I feel that if I could say the N word at a concert, right? If I could say the N word at a concert, which, by the way, LGBTQ community, okay, being black is not the same as being gay. Okay. I don't care what you say. I ain't never came out the closet. I wasn't like at 16, Mom, I just wanted to let you know, I got to tell you this, but I'm black. Like, that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same thing. The oppression is not the same thing. There's not you can't go anywhere and find literally registries of the amount of gay people that were literally lynched. Okay. It's a different thing. More people literally died over the N word than ever did over the derogatory term for a gay person, the F word. You feel me? Like, these are facts. And so when they try to make the equation that it's the same thing, it's not the same struggle. Okay. The entire gay community was not put into chains, was not sold as chattel. Okay. It's not the same thing. And I'm sorry if I'm a little bit whatever, but I hate when people try to make it the same thing, because it's not.
You know,
go ahead.
My last piece.
We got 4 minutes.
Yeah. My last piece of this is when people want to be included so much, they go to extremes. And that's what it seems like this community is doing, because they forget the label. Yeah, they've objectified themselves, calling them LGBT. That's an objectification, which comes now some type of entitlement. Like, well, because I'm in these group here, we should be entitled to be a part of this. And they're not, and like you said, it seems like they're forcing their way into these systems and making it like, well, you have to. Like, yeah, it's a touchy subject. No, for real. But
it is a touchy subject.
People.
I think that
they're people.
Yeah,
they're human. Don't forget that they're human beings too. And as human beings, we're social beings. We want to be included in stuff. We don't want to feel excluded. And they're forcing their ways into society to be included, and they're canceling folks as they do it.
I think it's also well, a lot of people who are part of that community have been like hiding their true identities for a long time, since our community wasn't so open with them as well. And so I think now that society is being more welcoming and inviting, that they are just not staying quiet anymore, not taking anything. And I think that's where all this comes from. It's like, we are not going to stay silent anymore, and you're going to hear us and you're going to know about us. We're not going back.
But see, that lifestyle that's a private lifestyle. When you force that on society now, you got to deal with what society views on that too. So it's not just, oh, I'm in this community and you got to accept me. Yeah, now that you brought it out, now you got to deal again. You got to deal with everything that goes around that conversation, and everybody's not going to accept that, and everybody's not going to appreciate that. Everybody's not going to care about that cause. That's just point blank.
And go ahead.
Oh, that's what I just saw on the news as well. Like that the Brat, the rapper, and Judy Depart say that being openly gay as a hip hop artist is way easier than it was before. And she couldn't reveal her identity in the past, but now she can, even with all this going on.
Here's the funny thing. When the Brat came out, wasn't nobody surprised.
Exactly.
We knew.
Come on, the Brat.
And we still loved her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody ever, that's my point, is that she could, quote unquote, hide being gay. Yeah. She couldn't hide being black. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and we knew, okay, Latifah, we know you ain't really said it either, but we love you too, girl. It's all good. We ain't mad at you, Latifah.
UNITY.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody tripping, you know what I'm saying? And so my thing is just this, like, look, if you want to be equal, then your sexuality doesn't matter. It doesn't have to constantly be the thing that I get punched in the face with, because apparently if it's normal, if it's natural, then who cares, right? That's my understanding of the argument.
And it ain't brand new. It's been in the Bible. It's been talked about for centuries.
From the beginning of time. So why is it being pushed in my face every single day? You know what I mean? Because look, I understand that community has been discriminated against, that they have been treated terribly, historically speaking. Okay. But in 2021, let's be honest. Yes, there's still ignorant people. There's still homophobic people. There's still people who do and say stupid things. But let's be real. You are way safer in 2021 being LGBTQ still than you are being black. And I said it. I stand by it, and I'm never gonna apologize.
It's over.
So with that being said, we got about 45 seconds. Ms. Lillian, you got something to say before we get out of here?
Well, all I want to say is protect the earth and environment. Even with all this going on socially, we are still on a planet called Earth, and we need to protect it. So ride your bike today instead of your car, or use that reusable straw instead of a plastic one. Thank you. That's all, Lily, folks. Man.
Lily is amazing.
Recycle.
Ferran, you got something real quick?
Nah, man, I just want to tell everybody, have a safe weekend, protect yourself, and again, God loves you.
Yeah. So with that being said, reach for your best, reach for success, but most of all, reach for God, because God is love and love is everything, man. Y'all have an amazing weekend, and we'll see y'all next week.
Oh my.